could be totally wrong, but I think there's something sneaky going on, or there was something sneaky going on in Ireland on International Women's Day, and it didn't turn out the way, the overlords had hoped. But I really want your all's opinion because I don't know. Welcome back to Far From Eden. On March 8th, which, as we know, was the ever important International Women's Day. I mean, of course, March is Women's Month, Women's History Month. The Irish citizens were asked to vote on 2 different referendums to change their constitution. And I mean, I've never talked more about Irish politics than I have in the last 24 hours. Because I don't talk about Irish politics, because why would I? But I think this is it's very interesting, the things that they were deciding on over there and the way that the vote went. From what I have heard here in the States, I would love it if any of you are in Ireland or saw the campaigning or what the commercials were like. I want to know what the propaganda was. There's always going to be propaganda, and I'd love to know how the women, were being propagandized over there. Because it's been my experience that generally we're not so good at going and reading all the different things. We will get a gist, and then if we're going to vote, we go and vote. That's what I've seen. So I'm sure there are exceptions. So let's talk about what they were doing, because most of us here in the States or other places are not going to know about what are they doing in Ireland. And I think there's a reason why. I know, but that's for my tinfoil hat. I really need to get a tinfoil hat to put on it when the time calls for it, like now. So they voted on 2 referendums in Ireland on March 8th. The first referendum concerns the concept of family in the Constitution. The second referendum proposes to delete an existing part of the Constitution and insert new text providing recognition for care provided by family members to each other. Well, that sounds so sweet. The state cares so much. All right, so one is called the Family Amendment and the other one's called the Care Amendment. All right, I want to talk more about the Care Amendment because that has way more to do with who women think they are and what they think their role should be, and that's what interests me about this. But these are obviously very related amendments, and I think that the powers that be imagined that they would go together. And they did go together, but not in the way that they were expecting. The Family Amendment. The Family Amendment, the 39th Amendment to the Constitution, will be on a white colored ballot paper. It deals with Article 41.1.1 and Article 41.3.1 of the Constitution, both of which relate to the family. All right, I'm going to skip to the legal effect of a yes vote on the Family Amendment. A yes vote on the Family Amendment would mean that the constitutional protection of the family would be given to both the family based on marriage and the family founded on, quote, other durable relationships. The family founded on marriage means the unit based on a marriage between 2 people without distinction as to their sex. The family founded on other durable relationships means a family based on different types of committed and continuing relationships other than marriage. So different types of family units would have the same constitutional rights and protections as, I feel like, as marriage. You left off the rest of that sentence. The institution of marriage will continue to be recognized as an institution that the state must guard with special care and protect against attack. Yeah, okay, we'll see. We'll see about that. Anyway, the part of this that that would be changing if you vote yes on the family amendment, then you're sort of you're saying, well, yeah, marriage can be the cornerstone of a family, but it could also be, 3 women. It could be, it could be a vast array. And a lot of people would say, well, that's, for the rainbow people. That's beside the point. That is not what we talk about here. What I see it as is removing marriage as the cornerstone of family, because it could also mean if you're a single mom and you've got your kids, well, those are durable and lasting. They want to change the definition of family. The definition of words they're so important, because when you define a word, that's its meaning. And if you change the definition, you're changing the meaning. So you're literally changing what family means. And so the no vote would mean that they would continue to give constitutional status only to the family based on marriage between 2 people without distinction as to their sex. So that doesn't affect some of the rainbow people. They would continue to recognize marriage as an institution that the state must guard with special care and protect against attack. So basically, yeah, they would just say it stays that marriage is the cornerstone of family. And they wanted to change that. And the people said, no. One of these was like 60-40 and the other one was 70-30. I can't remember which one was which. It doesn't matter for our purposes. But it's interesting to me that they were like, yeah, we're not gonna have you take out the marriage part. That's very interesting to me. The most interesting thing is, wow, that's pretty blatant of the state. Like, yeah, we're just trying to redefine what a family is. Actually, you're just trying to erase what a family is. So, wanted to talk a little bit about the family amendment. Now for the care amendment. This is what gets interesting, and this is what I really would like your feedback. If you're in Ireland, were there commercials on television? What was what was it like? What were they pushing? How did they sell it? So, the 40th Amendment to the Constitution will be on a green-colored ballot paper and proposes deleting the current articles 41.2.1 and 41.2.2 and inserting a new Article 42B. Article 41.2.1 is, in particular, the state recognizes that by her life within the home, woman gives to the state a support without which the common good cannot be achieved. So this is as it exists. Now, that's very complimentary to women, if you ask me. Now, if you ask some women who are like, oh, you just want me chained up in the kitchen, they might think that that sounds very patriarchal. Her life within the home. What do you mean my life has to be in the home, right? But they were like, so far so good. And then the 41.2.2 states, the state shall therefore endeavor to ensure that mothers shall not be obliged by economic necessity to engage in labor to the neglect of their duties in the home. I mean, duties in the home? What are you saying? That I can't be a CEO? I mean, part of me would think, well, God, that's wonderful if women were like, yeah, I have duties in the home. That was my first take. But I checked with some men folk too, because I was reading it and I was like, well, I'm a woman. I'm understanding this a certain way. How would a man read this? And because, I get the feelings popping up immediately. Feelings before thoughts, as we always do. And we always think our feelings are our thoughts. So now I'm smart when I know when I'm using my woman brain, I have to keep that in check and see what I'm missing. I'll get there eventually, but it's so much easier just to ask a guy. All right. So the Constitution currently, by Article 41.2, refers to the importance of the common good of the life of women within the home. Yeah. And that the state should endeavor to ensure that mothers should not have to go out to work to the neglect of their, quote, duties in the home. I mean, I know we just read that, but it's explaining it for us in case we're slow. So so that's what it was. The proposal is, in this amendment, there is one vote for two proposed changes. The proposal involves deleting Article 41.2.1 and Article 42.2, which we just read, and inserting 42B. We already read. It's so, legal stuff is it's just redundant. I know, I'm sorry. And they want to put in, this is the replacement. This is what they want to replace, all that good stuff about mom being in the home and that being important and that being, important to the state. I would say society, but they're just putting it right out there. They want to change it to, the state recognizes that the provision of care by members of a family to one another, by reason of the bonds that exist among them, gives to society a support without which the common good cannot be achieved, and shall strive to support such provision. So they took out that it was the woman in the home that provided the care, and they were her duties in the home. They removed that and changed it to, well, it can be anybody in the home, right? I think the angle was, hey, women, it's not all your responsibility. I mean, you got to go and be a boss babe. You got to go and make your millions and be a CEO and be so important. Like, it can't be always your job. What are these duties in the home? Like, what is this, 1950? Come on. So a yes vote would put that in, and it would recognize the importance to the common good of the care provided by family members to each other. Aw, that sounds so nice. I mean, it sounds very leftist. It sounds like a feminist would eat it up. Don't you think a feminist would be like, yeah, I have duties other places. I'm not just Susie Homemaker. And a yes vote would provide that the state would strive to support, which of course they don't define terms. They don't define, well, what does that mean? Strive, what does that mean? Support, what does this mean? They don't say, so they can just invent it later. Keep it vague so they can do what they want to do later. And I'll tell you what that is in just a second, what I think it is, what I think the end goal of this would be. Yeah, strive to support the provision of such care within families. So it's not just that the woman wouldn't have to be responsible for these duties in the home. Other people would be responsible. Not just that. The state would strive to support them in that. Okay. But if they vote down the care amendment, which they did, they voted it down. They voted down the family one that was going to sort of redefine the family to mean basically it's just some people that care about each other for a long time, whatever that means, and remove, that marriage is the thing. They voted that down, and they voted this one down. So with voting it down, it continues to recognize the importance to the common good of the life of women within the home. It would also continue to require the state to endeavor to ensure that mothers should not have to go out to work to the neglect of their duties in the home. Well, first of all, that's husband's job. Go and work. Mother has all of her duties in the home. It's not the state's job, so obviously we're already past that. We're already past that where it's like, well, if mother's single, what I think, well, first of all, it's great that these got shot down, right? Because it's never good to be like, yeah, marriage isn't really a big deal and the family doesn't have to be the only, no, it is. And there's no family, without a marriage. I mean, you can pretend, and I know my generation, what did we have? We had Roseanne, remember? It was like, oh, families can look like anything. And they were still kind of normal, right? But they were dysfunctional. But Kate and Allie was another one that was in the 80s. And that was two single moms and their kids, and they all lived together. And all during that time, they were starting to sort of try to redefine what a family was. And basically, it's like, hey, you don't need the guy. That's what it was. It was, you don't need the man. Let's remove father. And they never say, hey, let's remove father, insert state. They say, remove father, look at you go. You're strong and independent. And let's just pretend that the state isn't propping it all up. I think, well, tinfoil hat time. I think that this was a type of a beta test. And they tried it in good old Ireland. And just to see, where are people at right now? You know, where are the women at? Are they ready to just be like, ugh, duty? Why are you telling me that I have duties in the home? Or not? Originally, I'm embarrassed to say, but originally I was like, wow, that's wonderful. Women are standing up for tradition. And part of me still wants to think that. And there's probably a few. But another part of me is like, or they were like, don't you try to say that a mother isn't important. Don't you try to say that, don't take woman out of it. Don't take woman, even though it was duties in the home, you take woman out and you're like, all the people. She's like, no. It could be that they're like, well, wait a minute. I'm more important in this one. I want to still be important. I hate that could be it, right? But if I say, well, are we like, wow, they really voted for tradition. They really want to be wives and mothers and, you know, actually be in the home and recognize those duties. Like they value that in their seat. Like, that was my brain. I got so excited. But then it was pointed out to me, like, you know, that's a lot of thinking. And I don't think they did a lot of thinking. I was like, crap. Well, you got me there, because I can't what am I going to make the case? No, they thought this through. So it is likely that they were like, oh, one doesn't seem like I'm important. So it's likely that was, if the state wanted the women to vote to sort of remove themselves from the home, the women were like, I'm not removing myself. Like, it could be that simple. Also, I do know that women are very territorial. Women will fight in family court for their kids, you know, for custody, when they're not even being good moms. They're not even around them that much. Some of them are abusive. Now, I'm not saying this is all women at all. I'm just saying, I'm making a point. But they will still fight for those kids. And I'm like, why? Because those kids and that position of mother gives them some sort of perceived power, some sort of perceived, I don't know, accomplishment. You'll see them on DUI videos and like getting in the handcuff, but I have kids, but what about my kids? And I'm a mom and I'm a single mom. And you're like, why are you mentioning that? Because there's some sort of clout. And I think that's also something, like maybe they didn't want their clout removed. You know, it doesn't mean these women are, you know, cooking family dinners every night and baking. And it could still mean that they're giving their kids McDonald's and putting tablets in front of their face. But they still want to be recognized as the boss, you know, in the home. I don't know. But I think it's very interesting that these amendments were put forward. And here's what I was going to say, what I think the end goal is. And this is related to what we normally talk about, but there's always a bigger picture, right? First, they remove dad from the home. The state removes dad from the home. Uses the women to do it, right? The women like, he doesn't make me happy. Oh, no fault divorce, easy peasy. Oh, I get all this stuff, excellent. So the state got the women to remove dad from the home. Well, now the women are just easier to propagandize, right? Easy, those women are going to vote in the things that the state wants, makes the state more powerful. So now, if the women one day do say, yeah, we should really, it should be different people in the family, whatever the family is, to do this. Or government will do it, which in that wording was like, it will strive to support whoever's doing it, whoever's taking care of people who need to be taken care of, like small children. The government wants to get these kids in daycare. It's going to be like, as soon as she gives birth, it's going to be like, government's going to walk in and be like, okay, we're off to daycare now. Let's get the indoctrination started. Because, women, you've got too much important things to do. Your place in the home, that's oppression. I think they want to push them out even more because the earlier the government has access to kids, the more the kids are, going to be in lockstep with what government wants. They're much easier to control. We see it now with college students, high school students, even kids who didn't go to college. They spout all this stuff. They're a bunch of communists and all this common good language. What was that about? Common good. And they outright said the state. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. It's a Thursday. I was like, it's Irish politics. Probably boring, but I don't know. I do think it was a bit of a beta test. Like, let's see what's up with them over there. See what they'll go for. What are the women ready for? Are the women ready to completely relinquish the idea of family altogether? We women have been instrumental in destroying the family in the West thus far. And this just seems like another step in that direction. So anyway, thanks for, going through this with me, and I really want to know what y'all think. I could be way off base. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. And I really wish I had seen the propaganda that they were running to see what the selling points were of this. Could be very interesting. So I hope y'all are having a good day. I love you guys. I want you to take care of yourselves. Find something that feeds your soul. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.